You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Steelers, and really and truly, I guess this is a follow-up to the video I did yesterday evening, about the fact that Kenny Pickett had been benched as the starter and Mason Rudolph was going to be starting this weekend. The Steelers are fighting for their playoff lives right now. Once again, Mike Tomlin has made lemonade out of lemons. Once again, he will not have a losing season. He will have a plus season, and it's been somewhat of a miracle because the great majority of the season, this offense has looked like straight trash. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's looked terrible until Kenny Pickett got hurt, and then Mitch Trubisky was, well, crap. I mean, I thought we knew who he was. But we also thought we knew who Mason Rudolph was. And clearly there's been some sort of a switch that's been flipped with Mason Rudolph. And all of a sudden, he's playing very damn good, competent NFL professional quarterback. I said yesterday, there's something going on in the league with teams not being able to properly evaluate and get these second and third quarterbacks the amount of reps they need in order to grow. All right. Well, I did a video. This has been 2 months ago, I guess, where we found out that essentially Deshaun Watson quit on his team. He was supposed to play in a game. He got about 2 hours before game time. He assured his teammates all week long he was playing, and management and the coach. Everybody thought he was playing, and he tapped out about 2 hours before the game. And so now we've got a situation where we may have another quarterback that has tapped out. And I'm sorry, I don't look at this any other way than I would have with Deshaun Watson. Dude, you got to be a team player. You're a blind man if you cannot see how much better the Steelers' offense is running under Mason Rudolph right now. Check your ego. Kenny Pickett, you quit. And what I mean by that is he quit this past week on his team against the Seahawks. At least that is the word on the streets, that he refused to play as backup to Mason Rudolph. Dude, you got Wally pipped. It happens to a lot of quarterbacks. And not only that, but the way you've played like trash, Mason Rudolph might be a great example of how you don't give up and you come back after you stunk up the room. All right? But there's no way any person, Ray Charles, could see how much better this Steelers offense is running under Mason Rudolph than it did under Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky. This is crazy. Yahoo, there's trouble brewing in the quarterback room of the Steelers. That is, if you believe Pittsburgh media personality Mark Madden. Madden posted on X this afternoon that, quote, he just got told Kenny Pickett 100% refused to be the backup to Mason Rudolph in the Steelers game against the Seattle Seahawks Week 17. What is it with these quarterbacks feeling entitled and these players? I mean, you're not given anything in the National Football League. That makes sense as to why Pickett was inactive, leaving Mitch Trubisky as Mason Rudolph's backup in the Steelers' win over the Seahawks. Adding to the intrigue, Madden said the Steelers writers know that Pickett refused but won't write about it. Wow. In an appearance on the Fan Morning Show today, the Athletics' Mark Kaboly intimated the same thing. Quote, I'm very, very highly skeptical that it was 100% Mike Tomlin's decision that Kenny Pickett did not dress yesterday. Kaboly said if he knew without question that Pickett refused to back up Rudolph, it would have been on the Athletic website right now. There are some things you know and some things you can write, and there are some things you know you can't write. Wow. If what Madden stated is true, Pickett needs to take a good, hard look at himself. He's not earned the right to have this entitled stance, nor has he earned the right to step back in as starter over Rudolph, who's played the best ball of his career. Madden just opened up a whole can of worms that will certainly cause a distraction as the Steelers prepare for the regular season finale with a playoff berth at stake. And yesterday in that video, I went over the scenarios for getting in the playoffs. Now, look, this is a PFF's quarterback grading system through this last weekend. I don't know if it's updated to include this last weekend. I would guess it has been based on the scores. Now, Mason Rudolph's only played 2 games, so I have to click this button that says ignore minimum snap count. All right? So when you do that, you see Mason Rudolph is right now tied with Baker Mayfield as the 19th best graded quarterback. Now, I'm here to tell you, this grading system absolutely has some flaws to it, okay? But it's a pretty good gauge of where a quarterback is in general, all right? And you can see Jake Browning, Mason Rudolph, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, okay? That's the area code that he's in. Kenny Pickett is down here at 24, all right? So not a massive difference, but look, there's a difference between the 24th best quarterback and the 19th best quarterback in the league. There's not a world anybody's living in that can't tell you that Baker Mayfield has played better than, Kenny Pickett. I mean, that Kenny Pickett has outplayed Baker Mayfield. That world doesn't exist. Kenny Pickett played 12 games, 2,070 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Mason Rudolph, I understand he's only played 2 games, 10.5 yards per attempt, 567 yards, so a quarter of Kenny Pickett's yards in only 2 games, and 2 touchdowns, no picks. 68% completion percentage. So, I understand we're not talking about Peyton Manning here when we're talking about Mason Rudolph. I get it. I get that Kenny Pickett's your first-round pick. I also get what is known as the eye test. And very clearly, Mason Rudolph is doing a much better job of being able to utilize the weapons on this team, and this Steelers team is loaded with offensive talent. This is not a team devoid of offensive talent. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Jaylen Warren, Najee Harris. This team's got real players, folks. And they can score real points if they've got a quarterback that can simply feed the ball to the playmakers. Man, Kenny Pickett, it's a terrible look. And I said, I'm a Kenny Pickett guy. I thought he was a perfect fit for the Steelers. Came out of Pitt. Just stable franchise, stable head coaching situation. You bring him in. I understand he's got Matt Canada. Matt Canada's gone. He still didn't look much better. There's no way in a game this big that looks really winnable because the Ravens are going to set some starters. You have to play Mason Rudolph. Not only that, but you're one snap from getting back in. Kenny Pickett, if this is true, quit on his squad. He quit on his team, and it's a terrible look. And it's another indictment of these latest quarterbacks that have come into the league over the last 5 years, and the level of entitlement is just off the charts. It's nuts. It really is with these athletes. That's why I've preached so much caution with Caleb Williams. He acts like he's entitled. And that can spell doom in the NFL. Because at the end of the day, these general managers and these head coaches, They don't give a rip if you're a 6th-round pick or a 7th-round pick or a 1st-round pick. Whoever outplays who ends up with the ball in their hands, provided there's no ignorant politics behind the scenes. I got to be honest. I'm sure Mike Tomlin's like, I've got to work with this kid and let him grow. Plus, you put up with some attitude issues from George Pickens. Look, this is a little bit on Mike Tomlin too. This is what happens when you let other players as well act up. Everybody starts acting up. All right? There's got to be consequences. There does. To what goes on. And if Kenny Pickett quit, I'm just letting you know right now, he wouldn't be on my football team. He would not be on my football team. Anyway, tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. This is nuts. I'm gonna tell you, from a character standpoint, I didn't see this coming at all. I did not. But I saw the other day some of the interviewing around, media availability and him, and I hated his body language and I hated his answers. I was like, Kenny, why are you being an asshole? Because you have not been very good this year. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.